Okay, so here we are, and we're going to export back into ZBrush. I kind of like doing the extra step of setting smooth before I export back in. That just makes it so it looks a little bit, well, it softens the normals. That's what it does. So it allows, if you do the texture process, go from one edge to the other, and it's smooth that way. Okay, so just something that I tend to like to do. Here, okay, hit object mode. Okay, click on the object, and file, export, wavefront object. I like to put this right back into the same format, and I always write like underscore UVs here. Now that's important in the naming convention, because if you get a character that has a whole bunch of stuff, yeah, you can imagine this is just a head model. This is a very simple example, but if you get there too much or too many things, it can get messy real quick. So I'm exporting all this as default and back to ZBrush. Okay, remember this was the one that didn't have any UVs whatsoever, and I'm just going to be at the lowest common and import my one with UVs, and it should be good to go. So now I should be able to wrap this up there. Good to go. And I could check this by going into here to texture map, and again doing something like a new texture, new from UV map. And I have this. Now there's one thing I like to do at this point. Here's why. You got these UVs, they're kind of harsh. You can see that they have these little lines that are occurring in here. Okay, now that's nothing to be too concerned with, but let's do a new UV check, and you can see that I also have the white lines that are appearing here. Okay, these are just stating that these are really hard UVs. So if you do use the blender, you know, when you do generate maps, I would say you should probably use the smooth UV feature here, just because it does soften them a little bit. So Maya, you probably wouldn't have to use the smooth UV, but Blender, I tend to see that using smooth UV does help with the exporting of. And there's several things that you could probably do to kind of fix this. Again, it's not too much of an issue. It's just more of an annoyance. What I do like to do is see the smooth UV feature. So upon the next level, sometimes that fixes it. And when I generate a new map, it might help. There's another thing you could do, and that's reconstruct subdivide. So let's try this first though. So they're a little less. Well, let's try the other feature. The other one's a little bit more of a pain. You go up in levels. And since I didn't really have anything from 6 to 7, I'm going to actually delete that higher. Delete lower. Have smooth UV on. And what I'm going to do is just hit reconstruct subdivide. And back it all the way down to my original level. Okay. Let's take a look at what that did, if anything. If not, you know, again, no big deal. New texture, new from UV map, and you can see maybe they're a little bit smaller, but still should be good to go. sometimes just by going Go Z every once in a while and examining things, it's very important to kind of know that you shouldn't just stop and say, okay, that looks a little weird. Always re-examine things. Here I might go in here and assign this material just to check it out, make sure everything's all right. Does everything look okay here? Yep, everything looks good. Again, with the UVs, maybe I'll check these out just to see if these look okay. I'll move one around to make sure that they're not disjointed in any way. Sometimes Maya and ZBrush have a bad habit of ripping apart seams, so these are things that you got to kind of look for. I'm going to move it back into location. Try to highlight the other model. There we go. Delete that out. Go Z that. Okay. Nothing happened back here. Everything's set. And everything stayed the same. Good. So things made sense in Maya. Things made sense in here. So just pay attention. If things look weird, they might not necessarily be weird. It might be a ZBrush thing. ZBrush is kind of quirky that way. All right. So that is the end of doing organic UVs in Blender and Maya. And now please move on to the next video.